Hello FPL managers and welcome back for another video. My name's Jack and today we're going over our transfer plans coming into Double Game Week 37 after that Marcus Rashford injury news. If you guys are liking the FPL videos, as always, drop a like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 12,000 subs by the end of the season, so please try and help us reach that goal. As always, have notification bells turned on so you don't miss any future videos. And with that being said, let's jump into it. So first off, let's have a look at how the team has got on so far in Double Game Week 36. Overall, a fairly positive week for us as our Game Week rank is around 900k for this week, as we have scored 74 points. But extremely frustrated with my captaincy decision. I was tossing up Salah, Wilson and Trippier. Both Salah and Wilson recorded 12 points. Wilson still has an extra fixture to play, and I've opted to go for Kieran Trippier as the captain. I wanted to jump on Kieran Trippier as I wasn't sure about Wilson's minutes. I think he was going to have reduced minutes across the two games, and maybe that could have given him a bit more difficulty in terms of finding the back of the net, but not to be. He got himself 2 goals. Trippier, on the other hand, just got the 1 point doubled up to 2, and it turned out that Kieran Trippier so far is my lowest scoring player in the entire starting 11. So very unfortunate that I had him as my captain pick. I really wanted to go for Mo Salah as well. I thought he was going to be a really good option despite just having the one fixture. Of course, Erling Haaland was always a captaincy pick, but I did say in my deadline stream that I wasn't going to go for Haaland this week. So realistically, it was between Salah, Wilson and Trippier. So very annoyed that I went for Kieran Trippier as captain. Hopefully, Newcastle can record a clean sheet in their second fixture against Brighton. Hopefully, he can get some points. Otherwise, I'm going to be very disappointed with how the game weeks turned out, as it could have been so much better. Anyway, with that in mind, let's have a look around the team. Overall, of course, despite having a bad captaincy pick, the team has done very, very well. All 3 forwards were able to pick up returns. Kane, Wilson, Haaland all jumped on the score sheet for their respective sides. Wilson with a couple of penalties, which he converted, which was very, very good. Unfortunately, Isak did assist one of those penalties, and he's also a very popular captaincy pick with a 70% ownership inside the top 100k managers. So I am grateful that Wilson did outscore Isak, but of course I am hoping for no Isak points in the second fixture of the Newcastle double. Kane once again is so consistent, got himself a goal, got himself some bonus points. Very, very happy with Harry Kane. Haaland likewise as well, got himself a goal and a bonus point for Man City. So very good to see from all 3 lads up top. I'm very happy with my front 3 right now. I think it is the best front 3 you could possibly have in FPL. Kane, Wilson and Haaland in my opinion. Let's look at the defenders real quick. Of course, Trippier, Botman and Ramsdale all blank. That was another frustrating thing. I had De Gea on the bench. I was tossing up, do I go double Man U defense against Wolves at home? And I thought, no, let's diversify the bench assets, so the defensive assets. It's smarter that way. If Manchester United don't get a clean sheet, then I'm going to be getting pretty much no points this week amongst the defenders. Of course, De Gea does outscore Ramsdale. We benched Ramsdale last week and played De Gea last week. Ramsdale outscored De Gea. Now we play Ramsdale, and De Gea outscores Ramsdale. So we can't quite get it right in terms of our goalkeeper picks right now. That's also added to the frustration. But nonetheless, Luke Shaw did get himself a clean sheet and triple bonus points. Unfortunately, got a late yellow card for Man U, which was very unnecessary. But Purvis to Stupinian, hats off to him. 17 points. A superb game week 36 haul from him. He's still got the extra fixture, so could potentially notch up the 20 points in a single game week, which is incredibly impressive for a player priced at around 5 mil. Very happy with the Stupinian goal, assist, clean sheet, triple bonus points. If it wasn't for him, I don't think our game could have been anywhere near as good. His ownership's only around 60 to 65% amongst top 100k managers. So it did give me a pretty solid rank boost amongst some of the better managers in the game. Of course, as we touched on, Mo Salah got himself 12 points, 3 assists for him. Very, very impressive. And Matoma and McAllister both blank for Brighton as well, as they each picked up 3 points respectively. I am obviously going to have 6 players playing in the last fixture between Brighton and Newcastle, which pretty much means from this point onwards I wouldn't expect to take a red arrow. I can only see the rank getting better for the rest of the game. Like obviously, not many people will have 6 players or have a triple up on Newcastle and triple up on Brighton, so I am grateful to have those guys on my team. I'm just really hoping that Isak can't hurt our rank, because he's obviously a very popular captaincy pick and a very popular option amongst the top 100k managers. So as long as Isak doesn't score, I think I should be good for a further green arrow for Double Game Week 36. But of course, looking at the bench, Marcus Rashford's picked up that injury, which is a main talking point. Henry got himself a clean sheet on the bench as well, which has also added to the frustration a little bit. And on Andreas, of course, with that injury. So let's discuss a player that I do want to get out of the team fairly soon, especially since he has an injury, and we'll go over some good replacements for that option coming up next. So as you can probably tell, Marcus Rashford is going to be the player that we look to replace. Obviously, he does have that injury concern. Erik ten Hag did keep his cards pretty close to his chest in his most recent press conference, saying we'll have to see about Marcus Rashford's injury. But I've got him on the transfer watch list, or sorry, our transfer replacements here, just because if he's going to be ruled out for injury, he is most definitely going to be the player that we look to remove from the sides. And honestly, I don't think it's the worst thing from an FPL perspective, especially for us, who I'm personally obviously trying to increase the rank quite a lot towards the back end of the season, which means by having template picks get injured, it does increase the chance of differentials coming into play and increasing your rank. So it definitely does help us out, Marcus Rashford, at getting injured, despite the inconvenience of having him injured. If he is going to be ruled out, it encourages managers to switch it up, go a bit more differential, which can be high risk, high reward. So hopefully we can cash in on the high reward aspect there. Gundogan, Fernandes, Odegaard, 3 replacements that I have identified for Marcus Rashford. All 3 players with very good fixtures for the rest of the year, and 3 players in very good form for their respective teams. Looking around my squad as well, I don't really see any reason to transfer out any other player this week. I was initially going to look to go Wilson to Alvarez, but after Gundogan's been putting in some great shifts recently, I may be leaning towards Gundogan as my second Man City option, and Wilson still has Leicester at home. And after getting 12 points so far in Game Week 36, plus seeing how poor Leicester's defence were once again against Liverpool, I am more inclined to hold on to Callum Wilson, as I do think he can outscore Alvarez despite having just this single fixture, as Leicester's defence has been arguably the worst in the Premier League since the resumption of the after the league, or after the World Cup. So I think capitalising on attackers against Leicester's defence is going to be worthwhile. But Ilkay Gundogan, though, in midfield, I think he's going to be a really good replacement for Marcus Rashford. Very, very similar price, so he's going to be easily affordable. I have a little bit of money in the bank as well. So Ilkay Gundogan, I think, is going to be a really good potential replacement. Chelsea at home, Brighton away, I think is an extremely underrated double game week. Chelsea at home, honestly, in my opinion, one of the best fixtures any team can have right now, considering how horrendous Chelsea have been recently. Brighton away as well, not as easy fixture, especially from an attacking standpoint, but of course it is Manchester City. With the way they create chances, they can score against anyone in the league and anyone in world football, to be honest. So I think Gundogan, for that reason, is going to be a really good pick. Obviously, coming off 32 points in his last 2 game weeks as well, definitely has swayed me to going towards Gundogan as my preferred Man City midfielder over the likes of Mahrez, Grealish or Foden. Also, depending on whether Gundogan plays in the Champions League midweek this week against Real Madrid or not, that will definitely influence my decision. As of course, players are playing in the Champions League midweek, Pep is more likely to rotate for their Premier League fixtures on the weekend. So hopefully Gundogan does get the rest in the Champions League, it means he's going to be more likely to start in the Premier League. But of course, a player that's been in great form, he's got good predicted points for Game Week 37 of 5.5. I wouldn't be surprised if he does outscore this, of course. If he gets on the score sheet, he's picking up bonus points, he's popping up in the box, playing that box-to-box role really well, which we saw him play extremely well a couple of seasons ago for Manchester City. Walked away with so many goals in that season, and it seems that he's sort of recaptured that role right now, and he's catching in the goals. He's been so clinical recently, so I do like Ilkay Gundogan there. Bruno Fernandes as well, I think, is another good Manchester United option. They've got a really good double game week. Bournemouth and Chelsea, 2 extremely good fixtures from an attacking perspective as well. Fernandes, a little bit more expensive at 9.5, which does make it harder for us to get him into the team, but he could be definitely worthwhile the money. He's put up better underlying numbers recently in the last 2 to 3 weeks than he was in the 2 to 3 weeks prior. So I'm liking Fernandes. He's getting into some good positions. He should have so many more FPL points in his last 2 or 3 games. He's had some really good chances to score, and his teammates have had some really good chances to cash in on his assists, but haven't quite been able to do so, and that's been highlighted in his very strong expected numbers of nearly a 7 XG and 15 XA, and despite that, he's only had 6 goals, 9 assists this season. So perhaps a little bit unfortunate not to have a lot more goals and assists this year. So I think for that reason, Fernandes could be a really good option. Of course, he's got an excellent predicted for Game Week 37 due to his really good double game week of 8.3 points. This is one of the highest figures amongst midfielders for double game week 37, and with an ownership of just 9.2%, he could be a superb differential midfielder. I could also look to go Salah to Fernandez, but Salah's just been in such good form right now that I'm still happy to hold him for his single game weeks. But it definitely isn't the worst option going for Fernandez, who obviously does have that double game week and has been in really good form at putting up really good underlying numbers recently. So Fernandez, of course, a really good pick. And continuing with that single game week theme with Mo Salah, I like Martin Odegaard here. He's got 2 single game week fixtures for the rest of the season. Nottingham Forest and Wolves are his last 2 games, but with the form that he's in right now, I think despite having single game week fixtures, he could potentially outscore the likes of Gundogan and Fernandez. He's also been extremely clinical recently, and despite Arsenal dropping off in form, it seems to be that Odegaard has just stepped up, taken his game to the next level recently. He's banging goals from outside the box. He's been extremely good from open play as well. He's been so good this season. Arguably has been Arsenal's best player this year with 15 goals, 8 assists. Such a great year for him. So with Forest away, Wolves at home as the last 2 fixtures, I wouldn't necessarily turn my eye away from those Arsenal assets. Of course, a lot of people are preferring players that do have double game weeks, but I think Martin Odegaard as well, definitely worth an honourable mention here. I think if you've got the likes of Gundogan, you've got the likes of Fernandez, you've already got a fairly stacked bunch of double gaming midfielders, and you want to go for a more differential pick coming into the back end of the season, Odegaard I think is going to be a really nice option. Yes, his ownership does say 30.7%, but it is a lot lower when you get to the higher ranks, like top 1 mil, top 100k. His ownership is fairly low. So I think Martin Odegaard could be a really good pick as well. Similar predicted points to Ilkay Gundogan, of course. He's got 5.2 predicted compared to Gundogan's 5.5. He is also a little bit cheaper. So I think Odegaard definitely still worth a look at. Despite having single game fixtures, he's put up a lot of FPL points recently, and he is leading this Arsenal side home to a fairly strong campaign for the Gunners. So I think Martin Odegaard is going to be a really good pick as well. Right now, if I had to say my favourite replacement, I'd probably be leaning towards Ilkay Gundogan. He's a massive differential with 4.6% ownership. He's got a really good double game week. So I think Gundogan could be my guy that I swap at Marcus Rashford for coming into the last 2 game weeks of the season. Hopefully he can continue to get good minutes in the Premier League. Of course, it's always a risk that you run with having those Man City players is the Pep rotation. But if he doesn't play in the Champions League midweek, I think Gundogan's going to be a really good option for my side. I need to mix it up. I need to go for differentials, and this Marcus Rashford injury has provided me with a chance to go with a more differential team, and which could see our rank rise quite a bit as I'm trying to push towards the top 100k by the end of the year. So hopefully we can finish double game week 36 well, have a great double game week 37 and bring it home in double game week 38. But right now, Gundogan is my guy that can help me increase my rank. Thanks for watching today's transfer plans for double game week 37. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, drop a like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 12,000 subscribers by the end of game week 38. So please subscribe and help us reach that goal. As always, make sure you don't miss any future transfer plans, knee-jerk reactions, team selections, deadline streams by having notification bells turned on. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.